Hello everybody, welcome to part one of a series which I'm calling, start that again shall we?
You're alive because of us. Now you will help us.
Emotion, love, pride, hate, fear. Have you no emotion?
Welcome to part one of a series I'm calling Mondasian Love Secrets. This is developing from it's a series of articles that Steve Vai did, I think way back in the late 80s, in Guitar Player, called Martian Love Secrets. He very kindly has reproduced them on his website, but that kind of there's about 7 pieces altogether, and you read through them, and that kind of gives you an insight into like Steve's thinking, that's sort of what makes him unique as a player. And to be honest, I got a lot more out of those 7 pieces than I actually did about sort of learning about sort of technical scales and this lick and that lick and blah blah blah. So I thought it might, I mean, I hadn't actually realised that, how influential those pieces were, and I'm sure Steve, when he actually wrote them, didn't think that sort of 30-40 years later that people would be poring over them going, yeah, it's fascinating. But we can start looking at some other sort of critical theory aspects. Is there any way we can actually build on what Steve wrote? Now, why am I calling it Mondasian?
I do not understand that word.
Well, I mean, this goes to, I'm a big Doctor Who fan, as you probably know. The English science fiction programme, and there's a race of Doctor Who enemies called the Cybermen, and they come from the planet Mondas, which is hang on a minute, I'll see if I can show you. Here we are. Doctor Who, the 10th planet, with William Hartnell, the last William Hartnell adventure. But yeah, it's got these guys in it that suddenly this planet appears, and it's the exact mirror image of Earth, and on this planet their future is taken, it's taken the path where basically, like, everybody's become completely synthetic automaton people, and it's, it's sort of, it's a bit like the Cylons in Battlestar Galactica, a bit like the Borg in Star Trek as well. The reason behind that is that there's something about our culture where we're sort of embracing like the synthetic, over-analysing things rather than just living, if you know what I mean, to the point where the actual humanity of the things we do is sort of like, it almost seems like a second thought. And now, I mean, it kind of struck me that, like, especially on YouTube, there's lots of stuff about, like gear reviews, how to sound like, etc, etc. In this case, say how to sound like Steve Vai. Well, right, so that'd be one thing. But then this obsession with technique as well, like playing licks or like note perfect playing. That's the other thing. The absolute perfection. Was when brings you back to these guys as well. When they first appear, they look sort of almost like angelic, when you first see them, but then you realise that the actual horror of what they've got, that they're trapped, that they're just complete machine people, and whenever they speak, they've got this like electric effects on, but in retrospectively it sounds like Autotune or something like that. And again, that reminds me so much of like, the way that music is so overproduced. You got this snap to the grid way of production, and auto-tunes on everything, and every little imperfection has to be fixed. And to me, that's wrong. That takes away the sheer pleasure of playing and actual musical expression. Ultimately, to me, that's what music should be about. That we're using all the, like the clever stuff, you know, like the modes and the harmony and things like that, to help express ourselves. Not so that that becomes an end in itself, so that we're forever just trapped in this thing about sort of trying to like improve your technique, where you're basically you're like a robot. There's that Queen song as well, Back to Humans. It's off, you know, Machines, Back to Humans. It's on the Works album. That's another thing which is kind of along similar lines, you know, that somehow music has lost its humanity. So so that's one reason I wanted to go back to these 7 articles by Steve Vai, just to see if we can actually learn anything. So in this opening episode, I just want to see, you know, just using some pedals, can I actually get like a Steve Vai type sound? I might be able to like sort of parody certain things, but ultimately the answer has to be no, because I'm not Steve Vai. So bear that in mind. But having said that, we can do a sort of brief rig rundown, get some similar-ish sounds, and then go from there. Alright, so right, so I've got a rig rundown for you. So we're starting out with this Morley Bad Horsey. This is the Mark 1 version. Did a review of this quite recently. We're then going into MXR Phase 90. I'm using that black line to set the dial. Script buttons pressed in, makes it a bit more subtle. This is a bit of a wild card. I'm using this MXR Univibe. It's got the Hendrix. It's the Hendrix model, but I like it. I think it's really cool. I'm kind of using that like sort of like a midpoint between a phaser and a chorus, perhaps a bit like a rotary type effect, etc., etc. You recognise it when you hear it. This is the key ingredient, however. If you want to try and get like a Steve Vai type sound, you want to get yourself a DS1 distortion pedal. Now, this is close to the settings that Steve uses, but like adjust the tone, because I mean, on the guitar I'm using a Gem Junior, and if you bring the tone down with that, it sounds a bit muddy. So if you sort of bring that up a little bit so it's sort of clean, it's a bit brighter. That's down to personal taste. I'm using this MXR micro chorus because that's it's one of my favourite chorus pedals at the moment. The other option is maybe this. This is I mean, I've seen on one of Steve's rig rundowns he's actually used this, but considering that this rig is going to be in mono, I actually prefer the MXR. I think it's a lot clearer, it's a lot crisper sounding. I really want to try and get a hold of an even side chorus, but they're very expensive. And then I'm going into this delay, and then maybe the reverb, although that's optional. I don't really need the reverb. And then all of that's being fed into a Boss Katana. We're starting on the bridge pickup. Guitar's on clean, like a sort of Fenderish clean. I'm using the Boss Katana, so. Okay, so I've put some delay in. And then use the wah. Yep, and so on, and so on. And then I quite like the Univibe with that, actually. Now Steve would probably do something up here, wouldn't he? Yeah. I mean, I can't play that thing like the ballerina. Yeah, that's not the ballerina, but all right. So that's that. Now I'll put the DS1 on. He does a lot of like Lydian stuff as well. Bring the wine as well. Yeah. So that's with the that's still like the bass sound. Try the phase 90. Yep. Okay. I'm getting some interference problems because of my lights, but sorry about that. Anyway, the Univibe though. Yep. Quite good effects from that. Chorus. Yeah, really good old reliable chorus pedal. So that's really all I wanted to show like for part one. You know, we get similar sounds, we can play similar scales, but there's still something missing. And as this series progresses, I want to show you that, like, you know, as I as a player start to unlock things, and as you as a viewer start to unlock things, because I hope you're going to try some of these ideas out yourself. That different. I mean, starting getting into that like, critical theory, you know, how we sort of interpret data. You know, these might start out with like a player like Steve Vai, but then as you're listening to it, you recognise the differences about yourself, and then those differences become your strengths, and you know, without going on too long. But so I'm hoping that this can actually develop into something, you know, something quite useful, and you know, that we can, you know, this will help take us all forward, and you know, maybe we could just get something, you know, really different coming out, you know, and yeah. So please comment below. I'm not sure if the experiment was that much of a success. I mean, you know, there's limits to what I can do. So I'm going to have to start working on a lot of things. I know that. Even before you start putting the comments in, I already know that. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to leave it there, and then I'll see you next time for part 2. Alright, thank you.